Welcome to Ames Public Library, both in person and virtually for Genealogy Plus, a program brought to you through a partnership with Ames Public Library and the Story County Genealogical Society. I'm Megan, the Adult Services Manager here at the library. The library's mission is to connect you to the world of ideas, which we do through diverse and inclusive resources and programming like today's event. For those of you with us in person, we are recording this to post to the library's Zoom channel. We will bring around a microphone if you have questions at the end so that the folks online can also hear us. For those of you with us virtually, you'll be muted during the presentation, so please submit any questions you may have via the chat function, and I will read those out at the end of the presentation. In case you all are interested in other library programming, you can always pick up a copy of our Page One newsletter, which is right over there. I just wanted to highlight a program coming up later this month on October 22nd. We'll have Andrew Carnegie's Riches in Ames and Iowa, or Shanna Stewart from the Carnegie Libraries in Iowa project will join us to talk about Carnegie and his work to build public libraries because it's the 120th anniversary of our library. So that is our lecture in celebration of that anniversary. All right, I think with all of that said, I will pass it off to Gwen.
Hi, I'm Gwen Jacobson. I'll be talking today about some lesser known sites for genealogy. I'll show you the ones we know first. You're all familiar with. Hey, we're a little cursed with technology.
Yeah.
Okay, these are the more well-known sites. And I just put 5 up here, but these are the, probably 5 more well-known. Family Search, Ancestry, Find My Past, My Heritage, and Heritage Quest. And you can get Family Search for free, and Ancestry and Heritage Quest. You can go to this library, you can use the Ancestry, and if you have a card, you can use the Heritage Quest at home. Okay, when I was preparing for this, I would say, well, how do I know if it's well known or not well known? So I just started looking at articles. And here's some that I found in Family Tree magazine. There's 101. There's 101 genealogy websites. And there's 23 unexpected websites that you might not be using. And then the best free genealogy websites, and free sometimes means that you can get, they're less well known. The ones that are for money, and this is just in the blue. It's like the categories that they have for this genealogy website. So you can have some newspapers, you can have some foreign ones, you can have where you share your training, and other places like that, libraries and all that. And if you don't want to read articles, there's some YouTube videos, so you can see this is just a few of the YouTube videos I found and kind of looked at preparing for this. These are on your handout too. And some other resources. This first one is actually a handout that goes with one of the YouTube videos. And then there's several more lists, and you can keep finding lists. And these are websites. Some of you are well known, some are not, but Cindy's List, Swing Pendium, Ancestry Hunt, and saying they have newspapers, but they have other categories too. Family Tree magazine, we talked about genealogy links is kind of a new one now. And I put it over here because there's all kinds of links. This one was started by Australia, in Australia, because it has a lot of Australian, UK even type sites. And then of course Family Tree wiki, and I'm gonna show you the example of where you can find lists on the family tree wiki. Although this is a well-known site, there's places where you can find other lists. So here I just brought up an example from Family Tree Wiki, and the places that I've highlighted in red up at the top. The blue button, create online genealogy records. That'll give you a list of where you can find other records. And they've kind of really got a template now so that you can find the same thing on each page. That's kind of why I'm highlighting it. Over on record types on the right, I've highlighted websites, so you can go there and just see websites of all about Croatia. At the bottom, you have the archives and libraries that you can go to and find out more information about Croatia, or the societies, like genealogical societies that are available. Those are all websites that you can find just from family search. And I just picked an example of Croatia, but in the country you go to, they have a similar hand and go look to it and on the right. Okay, first one was about digital public library, and yeah, this is like a national site, but it links to all the digital public content in other libraries. So not just this library, but this animal, this library, they have links to other libraries. And when you search on it, this is a search page, search the collection. You just put in what you're, person you're looking for, location you're looking for, and you can see what you find. And I kind of highlighted what was at the bottom, the bottom of the web page. There's a family research button that you can go to and you can find out more information about the genealogy it supports. And here's an example. I just put in Jenny Jerome. She's the mother of Winston Churchill. But you get a whole list of items that you can find, and there are different, like I said, there are different libraries around the country. And I found this photo, and that's something different than what you normally find. You could find, military records, you could find census records, you could find a lot of books and a lot of different things, but this was a photo, so I pulled that up. And you can see up on the right window, up in the corner, it says it's from the New York Public Library digital collection. So it's from another library. It's kind of fun if you could find your ancestors' pictures. You have to be kind of famous, maybe, to be in a collection at a library. Okay, the next one, kind of less well known, is conferencekeeper.org. And there's the main page. And you can see in the green, you can look it up by calendar, which actually prints out a calendar for you in calendar format. Or you can go by locations. And on the right, I put in for the locations, I put in Iowa. And on the right, you can see some of the things that are available in Iowa that you can go Zoom to or go to as a meeting. Another kind of less known is by the same people, the Family History Guide. And they have like different topics. But you can go on there and you can learn about them. It's more of an educational site. So you can go there and you can pick out something, concepts about family research or DNA or all the countries. I think it has all the states too, but there's one tab that's called the country tab, which has each country on there. And this is kind of like a self-paced learning that you can do. You can go there and find the lessons and work on learning all about those genealogy records on those places. Okay. Link Pendium. I have an example of that. This is the main page below the listing. And you can, this is made by the people that made Roots Web. This is a couple that did Roots Web, and then they did this Link Pendium, and it links to lots of different pages that are like smaller pages sometimes. Although it does link to bigger pages too, like Ancestry and others. But you can search in two different ways within Pendium. At the top, you can search by name, or you can search by location, or maybe in combination, you can search together. But on the right, in the yellow column, you see I put in Indianapolis and Indiana. And, or you can jump to a county. So this is more, local oriented. Like cities list, I was reading one of these articles, or listening to one of these videos, and they said, this is more like county oriented, it's like, smaller places, find information in those places. Instead of, stop topping on, you go to a county or a state and find out in the state. So I just picked out an example, and then I picked something from the list that came up. I picked up classic buildings. So if you want to find your family's church or something, you could, if you find to look like your buildings in it from that particular city or county. This is a picture of the mall. I think it's a classical building that I didn't guess what the name of the building is, but it's in Indianapolis. And it goes to a Society of Architectural Historians. So it goes to others' websites, not just, they're not all on this particular website. They go to lots and lots of different websites to find this information. Okay, this is an example of a large library. There's two that are here in the Midwest that are kind of large genealogical societies, and one of them is the Allen County Library. And it has databases, so it has its own digital collection. It has get started video, so you can put a lot down here about how to use this website, because they've got their videos tells you how to use it. And then it's also known for the Percy Index, which is the periodical source index. So that's the page I brought up, is to show you when you go to the search for periodicals. This is the page that'll show up. And even on the theme of large libraries, the other genealogical library in the Midwest here is the Mid-Continent Public Library, Independence, Missouri. And to go to it, yeah, there's the address. You go to the genealogy website. And, it has videos too to show you how to use it. And I like to go here and get forms, so that's what I put up there. So you can find your family history forms, pedigree charts, etc., or census forms. Okay, so next, I'm just going to talk about the different things in this list. There's an example of a library. You should use your local libraries or your state libraries. Historical societies, you can do your local like we are, or you can go to the state societies. And then archives, an example I'm going to show you is New York Archives. And that's sometimes owned by the government, sometimes, I don't know if it's independent. Genealogy societies, and I just picked one out, and it's not for state or county, it's for Germanic Genealogy Society. And US GenWeb has all the counties, the organized their counties. And besides US GenWeb, GenWeb in general, there's World GenWeb. So there's a lot of countries that have started using that form too. But I'll stick with US. And then just the government records, and I've kind of got Missouri in here because I found, most of these places are places that I have found genealogical information for my family. So instead of picking New York, I picked someplace here in the Midwest. Okay, St. Louis Library. I picked out a page from here. They have all the Ortsippen books. If you don't know what Ortsippen book is, it's it's for the Germany. Germany keeps these family books, church books, family books, and they call them Ortsippen books for the community books and family books for the families. And they've got a whole list of them. You can see right above the map guide, it has a list that you can go to and find them, and it's got, video that you can watch to see how to use those books. And I use those, us Friesland, a lot of us Friesland recipients, so that can mention that. And here, for the Historical Society, I picked out Minnesota. And I just pulled up the page where you search for people, and you can see, you can find birth records, death records, veterans records, state census, you can have all kinds of information at this particular page. So I guess like, it isn't that Minnesota is like the special sign I'm trying to represent here, it's more like you can go to state geological societies too. State historical societies. And search and see if you can find those online. For your particular ancestor you're looking for. And here's the genealogy site I just picked out. Everybody has German ancestors almost, so I picked out the German website. And then this is just a list of links that they have. For some of the stuff, because you have to be a member, are not free, but this links page is free. You don't have to be a member. And so that's why I don't have them. It's a link from the left, the menu. The menu's on the left, the basic websites is what I searched on. And Myers, we all know, if you're German ancestors, you should know about the Myers maps, the Myers gazetteer maps online. That's a great resource. But this is a long list, and just to show you what's available. And then US GenWeb, and the first page I show is just the GenWeb, US GenWeb in general. And then I put up our own. Well, it's not run by us, but it's for Story County. The igenweb.org/story. So then you can find lots of records there. And this is dependent on volunteer. So some pages are better than other pages. They find lists that are not, they're on the web, and you put in into those other pages. And Story County has a lot of records on there, like obituaries, etc. And then they just the volunteers put it up there for people to find and use. So lots of records available to location. Here's an example of a state archive. And then you can see this is put out by the government, but I think it's in combination with the archivists. I hope they're all employed by the state. And then I just went to a page where you can search for records. So to get you, what you can find on this website. And I don't have any New York relatives, but I've done some research for people from New York. So, okay, this is kind of a confusing page because this is kind of a confusing website for me because it has Missouri archives, but it's also mixed in with the government. This is the Missouri Digital Heritage, which has their digital collection. And I couldn't find how to navigate it so well, so I just put up a lot of different pages that I went to have information. I tried to say how I got there, and I'll show you on the next page, but there are buttons in the menus that I chose. So this one is under collections by title, and the other one's institutions, and the other one's collections, but it's topics. And then I just kept finding wonderful resources on this website, but they kind of all interlinked, and it was difficult for me to navigate. So as I found websites that might be interesting to people, I just put them on this page, and this is in your handout because I couldn't figure out how to tell you about this. It's a great site, but I couldn't figure out how to tell you about it without putting down a lot of websites. So the last one is for death certificates. And this is from a quick link. You can see above, I say it's a quick link menu option, and I'll show you on the next page. You see in the blue on the top row, right under John Ashcraft, there's a list of menu options, and across to the right, there's quick links. So I go to quick links, and under quick links, you can find death certificates, and so then on the right is the page that I pull up when you find death certificates. So you can put in a user's name there and see if they're, you can find their death records. I just put in a surname, which is my maiden name right there, Studley. And then what did it pull up in this person? So gave me a long list of people. I didn't know that many people had that last name, surname. And then I found that when I was looking for Vern Studley, he's from Illinois, but he died there. Kind of what it looks like. So it's, lots of records you can find there that may not be available elsewhere. And then, these are some other sites we're just going to talk about. Internet Archives is having a little bit difficult right now, so I didn't find much there. Happy Trust is another library. It's one as famous as like the National Library, the Library of Congress, but it's a good library. And it's also home of the. Yeah, I think I got that wrong. I think that Internet Archives is home of the Wayback Machine. So I that should be on the top. Yeah. Home of the Wayback Machine should belong to Internet Archives, not Happy Trust. And then some shared trees. I picked out two, like Jenny has shared trees, wiki tree, and I find these by Googling them. I'll Google my ancestor's name, and all of a sudden one of these trees will pop up. So then I find a whole bunch of, and I've not joined either of those two trees, but I just find what I do through Google on those websites. So I think WikiTree, you might have to pay to use that one. That one's, maybe Jenny is, because it's owned by MyHeritage. Yeah, so yeah, Jenny's owned by MyHeritage now, so you eventually, if you want to use that a lot, then you might have to pay some money for that one. It gets pulled up for free, what I found, on information on what that. And Genealogy, my cousin, she was a genealogist. She put our family tree on Genealogy. So that's how I know about Genealogy. It was originated in France, but they have multiple languages there, so I can see my tree in English. As you guys are here, I can check on one of those courses, like some of the online webinars, and somebody said, "Oh, as you guys are here, you can find, major places." Kind of important when you're searching in like Norway or Germany or someplace, and you don't know where this is, and you can't figure out because it's handwritten, handwritten, and you can't quite read the image name or whatever. You can type it in, and it's best to count. And Wolfram Alpha is it's not really a genealogy site, it's like a computational database, it's like a search engine, which does, you can do this with some of these things with Google too. I think they heard one measurement or another measurement, does things like that, and they have a section for genealogy in there, so I'll just show you a couple examples. And JSTOR, sometimes you find an academic article and you think, oh, I surely would like to see that. It's in JSTOR, you have a library that you can get onto that web, or well, they have some other ways of getting on there. Like you can get a JPass, I think, or you can get something where you get so many free articles. And I just give it to my husband because he has access to it, and I'll print it out for my personal use, not selling it or anything, just. And okay, I'm gonna go through all those that I just talked about. Internet Archive, well, it went down when I took this photo. And I think it's come back up, but it's only read only, and it's still working to get it back up. But it has books. It has the Wayback Machine. Wayback Machine you can use it again, but it's only read only now. And Mary Laura puts our newsletters out there, so that's what I was going to pull up and show you how to find our newsletters out there. But since it was down, I couldn't do that. Surrey County Genealogical News. So once a year she puts them out there. Okay, this is another digital library, Happy Trust. And I had somebody that came to one of our help sessions and they were, related to Stenberg's, actually Doug is related to a couple of Stenberg's, my husband Doug. And, so there's this, book there that, you know, it's a library, so it has some books, and this one is, called The Stenberg Pioneers, and this is a page from that book on the left. And on the right, if you, click the catalog information, you can see where the information on the books, like our catalog. And where that book that they photographed is at the University of Wisconsin, so if you wanted to go there, you could do that. And it's a complete family tree of this ancestor, his name is Hans Hansen Stenberg, and it's just a complete book from the beginning immigrant that came to the United States, and this family tree and all the people up until when this book was printed in 1857. So how they go used to Stenberg. And then this is the shared family tree. The same person that I found in the last page is Stenberg's. There's a whole family tree here. And I put the first person's name in. This is the immigrant that came to the United States. And from this page, I just Googled everything and this came up. I went to look at. From this page, I could go down to where his sons are, or I could go up in the tree to where his father and his or his wife is. So it's whatever in front of the tree. These people put these in the tree. These two trees, I think they're all working on a single world tree. I'm not sure they all have separate trees. They're trying to create them all together into one tree. Okay, this is Genealogy. This is one of my cousins with my family. Arm and there's tapping. He's great grandfather. There's my grandmother. She's the first one on the list. Don't feel burning in the tap. That's my grandmother. And so you can go in there, you can follow the tree up or down and see all the information, or you can print it out into a tree form, which is on the right. I have the tree form. I don't have the children underneath, but I have all the upper relatives. I don't know how to print this so that you can, if you're gonna actually print it out on paper, I'm not sure how you would do that, but I wanted to show you that you can have to see the tree. Okay, the fuzzy gazetteer, that's one I found, and it doesn't have a nice name to find it, so I always just Google it in English, because it's at a university over in Germany, I think, which D is for Germany. And it's a very simple looking website. On the left, you can see, I just put in the name of a town, and I even misspelled it, so you can see that. I know this one, there's only one landslide window, so I just left out the A and stuff found it. Here's the list. A list of all the places it found, and it's a long list, but Manslott's at the top. Then you click on that and you get this map that comes up and shows you. And you can see Manslott's just, it's on there, but it's just below where that blue location identifier is. Manslott's down there, Group Hughes is the next one, Payson's on there. So I really like this website, especially for like German and Norwegian places where I'll look at the record and I'll have the name and I don't know exactly because it's handwritten, I can't exactly spell it, and then what I can make out on here, then I can find where it is. And what the actual meaning is too. I did another example just so you can see it in Alaska. And I put in Accra, which is actually the church that those ancestors went to in Accra. But if you look at the map, then you can see Vika. I don't know if you say Vika or Vika, but anyway, you can see the village where they live right next to the church, Accra. So I like the map. Okay. I just think people should know about this website. Okay, this is the one that's just a little bit abnormal. I think the person that made this is Wolfram. It's called Wolfa Alpha. And I just showed two examples here. It has nicknames. So if you put in Margaret, you can know there's like a dozen, more than a dozen nicknames, obviously Margaret. This one I just put in John. And I put in words and identify what I'm talking about. It's a male given name. So I've identified what John is. So then he came up, and that's all I put in. And he came up with alternate versions of the name. So like somebody from Slavic countries might call him Ivan. Jack's kind of a nickname. And it's just got a list of those. And of course, yeah, John, G, it looks like Jean to us, but it's Jean. It's, French, I think, John. And then I also had a Wikipedia summary, so if you want to go and see, more about the name John, you should do that on Wikipedia. So the second example, we're always unclear what our cousins are. We just call them our cousins because we don't know second cousin, third cousin. It's kind of confusing. So if you just want to have it draw a diagram, and I showed this to Doug because we were talking about this particular person. But it's his father's uncle's daughter. How is that person related to Doug? So Doug would be the red square, and she would be the round circle. So it's identified as your first cousin once removed. Usually call her a second cousin because she's not a first cousin, so she must be a second cousin. And then it gives you more information too. One of the informations it gives you, this one's pretty simple because it's built up a little bit down a little bit, but it's how many generations, and then how many generations you have to go back to find a common ancestor. You have to go back 3. She would only have to go back 2. And then the blood relationship fractions. So if you're doing DNA research, if you found somebody that had 3.125, they might be your first cousin once removed. There's some other people might have that definition too. Some other family members. It's not just for your first cousin. It's removed. Oops.
Is it stuck?
Yeah, okay, I just hit the wrong button there. Okay,
Beautiful.
this is my JSTOR example. Halloween region people here, Fox River Settlement, O'Reilly, Illinois, is where. Was the second, there's 2 settlements. One settlement came before this was like the second settlement they talked about in the United States. So Doug's Norwegian ancestors first settled. And I just put in Google and I can find all kinds of information on the left. It's just the Google search. It's a picture of the ship, a book about it, and lots of maps and things. But the one in the middle, www.jstor.org, the Fox River Norwegian Settlement. I just clicked that and I went over here, and you could buy this for $10 if you wanted to buy it, which is the article it said. Or there's alternatives. At the bottom it says there's alternative access options. So if you looked at that, you could maybe see if you can find some other option to find and get a copy of this. If you have a library, you could find it at. Or you had a friend that had access to them. Okay, so kind of gone through these kind of quickly. This is an example that I found when I was first starting researching. I just was using Google, and now I use Healthy Family Search research what existed when I was doing this, but that's the other thing I do. So those are my 2 portals, so to speak, that I start from the other side from. The Google search, or I know I want to look for something in a certain country, I might go to family research with you. But I put in my ancestor's name, and I found a ship passenger list, and that was from immigrantships.net. So, and then when I found it there, then of course I found out the ship name from that passenger list. And so then I put that into Google, and the name of the ship was called Angie Bronze. And I found an article that was original at the time of this ship. Around the time that the ship was built, there was an article about this and how that it was being used to take people to the United States in station, people to the United States. And it was in German, but it's been translated and put online in English. And I found out at olivetreegenealogy.com. And it tells you how big the ship is, who owned the ship line, and what their first voyage was, and who was on the ship, and what supplies they had. It's just a really nice article because that was the first, maybe more than one trip over here. First, my ancestor didn't come on the first trip over by H-Class, but it was maybe the second voyage by the Einsteins. So this is what the immigrant ships look like. It's the transcribers field. So these are down here, they're just transcribed immigrants. And this is people that are all available ancestry, not the transcribed my ancestry, and family search has them too. But this was the name of the ship, Angie Bonds. And then your ancestry, this is just part of the page at the bottom. A lot from Emden. Most of them that we know come from Germany, come from Bremen and Hamburg. But this one came from a place near my ancestors called Emden. And then my two ancestors, one's my ancestor, one's my ancestor's brother. Stephen. Brothers. And they're not spelled the way I spell it. So I have problems finding them. And the VD stands for Vander Hayden, but they actually went by Van Hayden when they came to the United States. I think they went in Germany too, but they don't always have a name that has two parts to it. Sometimes you really have a hard time finding those ancestors. But later on this page, they translated indeed Vander. And so that's how I was able to locate the Google search. Whereas when I was on Ancestry trying to find this ancestor, they just, because it wasn't on the shipping list, they just left it off. But this particular shipping list, I was able to find it. Because they had a note at the bottom of the page about how how you revamped it. And then I took the name of the ship, Angie Bronze. And over on the right, you can see the beginning of the article I found. It's contributed by Hans. I think he's gone now, Hans George Morgan, but he wrote a whole bunch about ancestors. Because he came from that Friesland, so he translated lots and lots of newspaper articles. And this is what he translated and shared online. And so, as a picture of the ship. And it had a list of all the passengers in the first voyage and a bunch more information about the ship. So that's kind of my journey. And last night, as I was putting my talk together, going over for one last time, I happened to find something in Google search. So I put in the words overlooked free genealogy websites. You can see that at the very top. You can do this too. Overlooked free genealogy websites. And it just came up with all of these websites. So there's like 20 of them. And this was just the top of the page. Then it went on and it found all those YouTube videos. So it found all these videos that you could read. And then after that, it had all these lists of lists of websites, unusual websites, overlooked websites, and unknown websites, and little known. It just had a list of all these things on one page. So I could have, saved myself a lot of time if I had not found this last night. I found this in the beginning when I was preparing my talk, but I thought I should share it with you. So I just opened up the slide deck and I added this so you guys would know that you can just find all these places when you put this into your Google browser. And they have an arrow here, so each one will give you a little, if you click the arrow, each one will give you a little description of that website. Now these may not be, these may total be, this might be more free genealogy websites than overlooked ones, because they might be famous, but well known, but it's kind of a relative thing. Some of them are well known to you, but they're not well known to other people. Okay, that was my presentation, kind of short and less. Any questions? I got most of the websites, I made a list of three websites from the handout.
On your, let's see, who's that, the Gazetteer? You were talking about putting in like misspelled. Do you have to know the, other than the city, or, I mean, do you have to know a state or a country or whatever also, or can you just?
Go back to that.
And I didn't know if it just drops down suggestions and so you go
Yeah,
from
this
there.
is just, the website's really kind of frozen in time. It's not like a, fancy website, but, you can see on this one, the only thing I put in was opera. And I couldn't figure out how to put the little A, the circle above opera, so how you do it in Norwegian. But they also use two A's if they don't have it in their keyboard. And then this particular one, I did put in the country, available countries, and I clicked Norway, and then I went up there and I clicked search.
So it kind of narrows it down somewhat.
Well, I didn't show you this, but there's a lot of actors, there's 3 actors and then a lot of this is the actor too. If you don't know the current spellings, they change the spellings. I don't know, spelling's optional, I guess. But when I put in Vika, one before this, that's this one. This one I wanted to put in Vika because you can see it over here on the map. The Vika's right there, and Actors right there, the church. Well, it's a town, but it also has a church that we went to, Vika's right there. But when I put in Vika, there's pages and pages. It means little bay by the water or something, very common that they would have a lot of names. And I don't even know if this qualifies as a village, it's a farm name. In Norway, they have things called farm names, so every little grouping of houses, they have a name for it. So, and most places you can't find those lists. I guess now, the Family Research Wiki, when you go there, you can find it. You'll be able to probably find a page for APRA on the Family Research Wiki, and then on that page, it would have all the little farm communities, the farms, and it would have those names on there. So you probably would find the spelling in it too, because it was all. But if you're searching for it and it's handwritten and you can't read it, and I've been in that situation, maybe in Sweden, I was looking at records, went to Archive Digital, which is that's a site that has all the church records for Sweden in it, and I would look at those names because they were all handwritten where I found them, because I find one ancestor and go with them. I could not read them, so I either go here to the Fuzzy Gazetteer or go to the research wiki, family research wiki to try to find the spellings of those names. That's why I tried to show you one where you didn't actually know the spelling, you put in what you know, and it looks where it tries to find it.
I just mentioned that in Sweden, they had a spelling reform in 1908, which changed the spelling to where they are now. But some Swedish English dictionaries you get supposed to help with genealogy only has a modern spelling. And sometimes you have to really search and try to figure out what it is. But the problem is the church records is that they'll get a new pastor, he'll spell a farm name different than the old pastor did. And sometimes it'll be 4 or 5 different versions. I know there's one family I worked on for several years. Finally, I suddenly saw, oh, it's the same farm. The 2 pastors just spelled the farm name differently.
That's right.
And it's a little aggravating sometimes.
I have a story in particular about Vika. When I found someplace, there's an common cousin, I guess, that was posting stuff on there and somebody was helping her out, and they said, oh, Beacon, you can change the V to a W, you can change the I to two I's, you can change the K to a G, and the A at the end could either be an E or an A. This has an A up here and an E down here, or you can leave it off, you don't have to have the A or the E. But that's how many different ways you can spell that very short, which is very, very enlightening to me to find that out. Every letter can be changed in the same place.
All right, any other questions for our speaker? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.